Buenaventura's civil society candidate for mayor, Victor Vidal, cheerfully greets supporters, despite the need for soldiers to escort him at this makeshift dock. Like many in his movement, Vidal's life has been threatened by criminals concerned by his anti-corruption, anti-drug traffickers platform.
The risk is clear to us because Buenaventura is at center of many interests, while we defend the interests of the community and our territory. We oppose big capital, illegal actors, and interests of international and national developers, at times even agents of the state.
Buenaventura is Colombia's biggest port on the Pacific, but is also a largely Afro-Colombian city ravaged by crime, poverty, and corruption, fueled by the cocaine trade. Vidal's movement grew in response to that. In 2017, it organized an unprecedented civic strike, getting the national government to promise better healthcare, education, and basic sanitation, something Vidal says the peace deal the government signed a year earlier with FARC rebels made possible.
Previously, when you tried to start a civic movement, the government would say the guerrilla took people out on the streets. Behind them are the rebels. Obviously, that would end the movement and put their leaders at risk.
The last two elections were the most peaceful in decades, but now violence has returned as armed groups and powerful political interests pushed back against change. One of Vidal's partners was killed, another seriously injured. Vidal was assigned an armored car and bodyguards, but other politicians haven't been so lucky. 7 candidates have been killed across Colombia and 69 have suffered attacks. Independent candidates and community leaders have been the worst affected by the return of the violence. But since the beginning of the campaign in earnest back in July, threats and intimidations have spiraled nationwide, affecting candidates from across the political spectrum.
It shows that there's a risk for independent candidates, regardless if they lean left or right, but worse on the left if you openly confront invested interest. Peace helped, but it didn't rid Colombia from the rise of political violence.
Despite the risks, Vidal's campaign is running high in the polls against better-funded traditional candidates. For many, Colombia's fledgling peace agreement is an opportunity for change that can't be missed, even when it means putting their life on the line. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Buenaventura.